Sabi ko, imagine mo pag walang journalist. Kasi sinasabi nila, hindi daw kailangan eh. Kahit sino may smartphone, di ba? Sabi ko, imagine a world without journalism or without journalists. Eventually, darating ka sa point, nung continuum na yun, kung yun yung tamang term, no, you would have to invent journalism again.
Right.
Kasi it's a necessity
100%.
in society.
100%.
Pero ano ba yung mga parang main values that are very important that would actually separate a journalist from, say, a content creator, an influencer, etc., etc.?
Number one, you should know the objective process of journalism. Ngayon kasi nakakapi ka na, kailangan ipaliwanag mo na paulit-ulit to, no? Even journalists na kasama natin, hindi na intindi ibig sabihin objectivity. Akala nila, pag objective ka, dapat balance. They mistake that for fairness. They don't even understand yung idea ng false balance. Okay? Objectivity pertains to the process itself.
And I think the first hurdle you have to get over as a traditional journalist is this mindset of looking down and talking down to the competition, to the content creator ka lang, blogger ka lang. If you have that mindset, you've already lost. Because many of these people are doing a better job of disseminating information, whether correct or wrong information, they're doing it better than you.
Sa bias. Kasi akala ng mga tao, pag journalist ka, wala ka dapat bias.
Tinuro mo yan sa amin, sir.
Imagine mo pag wala kang bias. Di ba bobo ka nun? Ang stupid mo. Paano may re-report sa bagay na walang bias? I cannot imagine doing that.
Hi everyone, welcome to this episode of Breaking Ground, where we break stories from up top and on the ground. For today's episode, we have two veteran media men here with us today to talk about the evolving media landscape. With the omnipresence of social media and AI, what does journalism look like now? Let's get to this episode. Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Breaking Ground. For today, we have two very exciting guests with us. Ako personally, excited ako kasi lahat kami dito are former Inquiry babies. On my left is my mentor. Used to be and still my mentor. And on my right is my professor when I was still studying. So can you please introduce yourselves? Let's start with you, sir.
Okay, good morning. My name is Dax Lucas. I am a former journalist from the Philippine Daily Inquirer. I worked there for 18 and a half years. And since last year, I started my own outfit called Insider PH. It's business news oriented and purely digital. So, yun yung aking career journey. So far, so good. I've covered the business beat practically all my professional life with specific interests in banking, telecommunications, and a little on the capital markets. So yun yung focus ng aking coverage.
All right, sir.
I'm Christian Esguerra. I'm the richest. I'm a billionaire. Na-try ko lang. Kung yung dating, no? Hindi bagay eh.
Ano yan pare? Tawag doon? Manifesting.
I'm a billionaire and I actually own this building. I'm a journalist. I was also with the Inquirer for 15 years and then I moved to ABS-CBN, ANC. And then in 2022, I put up my own company, the company behind the Facts First podcast. So I'm a political journalist. Yeah. That's me.
Okay. So, maganda yung magiging discussion natin today, no? Kasi this is gonna be all about traditional journalism and what it looks like today. Kasi ang dami ng bagong factors, eh, no? So, siguro I wanna start with the effect of social media. So, first, sa tingin nyo, how has the rise of social media changed the way news is discovered and shared? Kasi, I think now, minsan, kapag pumutok siya sa social media, then it's something that traditional media carries. When before, it's like the other way around, diba? So, anong insights niya dito, sirs? Let's start with you, sir.
Buti nagtanong ka, kakayain mo na. the feeling ko, because of social media, we had to rethink our news values. Diba? Doon sa mga hindi familiar sa journalism, there's such a thing as a news value. Bakit balita isang balita? And before, this was determined solely by the journalists, by the editors in particular. Sa newsroom kasi, it's a dictatorship eh. Walang demokrasya ron technically. What the editor says is news, is news. But because of social media, a lot of people began realizing that there were many other sources of information, and somehow journalists had to rethink the news values that they were holding dear, holding dear before. And unfortunately, and sometimes fortunately, what's viral also became newsworthy, although not necessarily. So nag-a-adjust eh. Basically, social media made the journalists rethink the way we see information dissemination and certain information. Kasi before sa journalism, di ba, pag balita, aso namatay sa backyard ng isang kapitbahay mo, hindi siya balita eh. Pero now, it becomes viral. Nagkakaroon ng parang thread of humanity, affectation to that particular story. So somehow, it made us rethink the way we do journalism.
May pa journalism 101 tayo.
Of course, yeah. Professor.
Ikaw na, idol.
No, just to jump off from that point, those journalists and those institutions who have failed to make this critical step of rethinking the whole process, as Ian said, if you look at them now, if you look at the landscape, these traditional mainstream journalists are actually losing the war. Diba? They are losing the war. And a lot of them are feeling upset about the whole thing. They're merong righteous indignation. Parang kami yung tama. But but this process which Ian described na democratize in a way ang
From
media landscape.
dictatorship to
Correct.
democracy.
Now everyone has a voice. And a lot of times these people out there, the audience, have louder voices, more compelling voices than the people who have been classically trained as journalists, have practiced journalism all their lives. So it's you can imagine it's very frustrating for some of our colleagues, yung hindi nakapag-adjust, kumbaga.
Is that also a reason, first, bakit you veered away from traditional media? I mean, would you say that the way we do journalism is not as relevant now? Kasi ikaw, sir, you started your own business website, and then ikaw, sir, you have Facts First. So, anong take niyo doon, sir?
Well, I'm not sure if Ian will verbalize it this way, but long story short, I just got tired of losing. I got tired of losing the war, di ba? I got tired of losing ground to either the elements of the public who are uninformed but speak with a louder, more compelling voice, or to elements of our industry who have less than noble intentions, right? So, at one point, upo ka and say, teka, what am I doing wrong? What can I do better? So, yan ang nangyari sa akin in late 2023. And to Ian, it happened a lot earlier.
So, ibig sabihin, the answer to the question whether traditional journalism is still relevant is no.
It's relevant. It's more, believe it or not, it's more relevant now than ever before. The values are more relevant. But siguro dahil many of our colleagues have been in their comfort zones for the last 3 decades. And, diba? Siguro, syempre, ayaw mo nang umalis doon. Diba? I mean, I think you will agree. It's more relevant now than at any other time.
Ayoko, I don't agree.
Oh, okay.
Para lang may debate.
Okay, sige. Go.
Hindi, nag-joke lang ako. I completely agree.
Reset.
Hindi kasi remember nung 2007, mid-2000s, diba? Inquirer realized the need to shift from the traditional platform, tapos be open to nung time na yung media convergence was the buzzword. So Dax and I was part of this very small group, being part of this consultative team, diba? And patanda sa akin si Dax ng ilan ba, 10 years? Hindi, ano lang. Konti lang naman. Konti lang. Hindi, pero kasi yung ano namin, yung generation na yan, ito yung naka-experience ng shift from analog to digital. I remember when I entered the industry, 2000, naranasan ko yung typewriter Tapos yung
really?
tatawag mo yung ano, yung story mo pag nasa rally ka. So lahat yun naranasan ko. Gagawa ka ng slug, etc. etc. Tapos yung Palm Pilot, you remember that?
Yeah.
Kakabit mo sa ano,
Hindi ko alam yan.
May foldable keyboard.
yung smartphone mo, ganun yung
RJ45 na na LAN cable.
dial up, maingay. Gagana niya. So, nabutan namin yung shift na yun So, sa akin kasi, I was very open to new technology, new ways of storytelling. Kasi the writing was on the wall for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
The problem was, many of our colleagues were too stuck in their comfort zones. Na-realize, hindi, ito yung journalism. Ito yung journalism. This is how we are supposed
I
to.
remember the phrase he coined during that one meeting. Digital first, print surprise. Right? That was what you were saying. Dapat tayo, digital first. Tapos, kinabukasan, pagbukas mo dyan, wow! Ito pala yung story. But there was a lot of resistance from the...
Pero galing sa isang scholar yun.
Okay.
Original.
No. From now on, it's yours, man. From now on, it's yours.
Pero hindi rin siya ganun kasi nangyari. Kasi nangyari, yung traditional news platforms, ginawa nila, parang kinapi lang nila yung yung nasa dyaryo.
Yeah.
Nilagay nila online. Parang nag-mirror lang sila.
Yeah.
Wala silang binigay na na
Value add.
value added.
Hindi tinailor fit to the platform.
Kasi remember, pinag-aawayan pa sa Inquirer before, magbe-break ba tayo ng news? Wala sa kontrata natin yan. We signed our
Correct.
contract siguro 5 or 15 years earlier.
Plus, pag brinake ko to ngayon, yung scoop ko for tomorrow, wala na, di ba?
As if naman.
Yeah. No, back then, we had that
Pero
mentality.
hindi naman earth-shaking lahat sa scoop Ano sa akin kaya, I was very open to breaking news noon. Ito kasi yung parang seeds of this digital shift.
Sure.
Sabi ko, papayagan ko ba yung competitor ko nagbe-break ng news? Ako babasahin yung story ko the following day pa.
Right.
So, anong gagawin ko between now and the publication day? Lumabas siya sa newsstands. So, that was very challenging to me. And then, pag tinatanong ng mga sabi ng iba, nakakatakot maging journalist. Honestly, I don't think, Hindi, nakakatakot in a way, Pero today is the best and the worst of times when it comes to journalism, depending on how you see it. Kasi ang daming platforms for storytelling And nung pumasok kami sa industry, fixated ka lang doon sa platform kung saan ka napunta. Print, broadcast. That's it. Ngayon, ang dami.
I guess it's hindi naman question whether yung traditional journalism is still relevant. It remains relevant, but
Very relevant.
yung problem siguro is paano ka, yung me as a journalist, paano ko ba iaabutin yung audience ko in a impactful way?
May ito baka medyo boring, Dati kasi minsan nagto-thought exercise ako feeling Einstein Sabi ko, imagine mo pag walang journalist. Kasi sinasabi nila hindi raw kailangan Kahit sino may smartphone, di ba? Sabi ko, imagine a world without journalism or without journalists. Eventually, darating ka sa point, nung continuum na yun, kung yun yung tamang term, you would have to invent journalism again.
Right.
Kasi it's a necessity
100%.
in society.
100%.
Miski tanggalin mo yung buong industry ngayon, darating yung era na babalik siya. In another form, I suppose.
Ito sir, para sa inyo, who would you consider as a journalist? Parang do you need to have a journalism degree? Do you need to be part of a news outlet? Parang how would you define someone who's a journalist?
Inox muna.
Surprise! I don't have a journalism degree. Diba? I've never been formally trained in journalism. Right? My undergrad major was business, but I had exposure to journalism through my parents, young age. No, you do not need a formal journalism degree, pero ang laking tulong if you have it, right? Ang underlying principle which I subscribe to is the scientific method.
Yeah.
Basically, right? Hypothesis, test. Tapon mo yung pag hindi totoo, hold on to the hypothesis that works, it becomes a law. Which is the same principle in journalism, of course. Now, the danger is that nowadays, that is no longer the primary consideration. Primary consideration of disseminating information now is what is most catchy, what is most viral, which is not always, it doesn't always hold to the tenets of journalism. So parang nagbago yung priorities, ano. But jumping back to Ian's earlier description about this continuum na walang journalist, and at one point you will need to invent journalists. I embrace that process because it is very possible that the public today needs to feel a world na walang journalists doing their traditional jobs, right?
Para ma-realize nila.
Kailangan nila masaktan pa. Diba? I mean, that's how we learn best, unfortunately. Right?
Yeah. Yung pain points kailangan ma-identify mo. Yung tanong mo kasi ano yan the usual question yan, no? Who is a journalist, what is journalism, and what makes journalism a profession? Maraming factors Yung sinasabi, technically okay yan Nick Joaquin, walang ano yan. Walang journalism degree. So, he became a journalist as well, aside from a creative writer. Yung degree kasi nakakatulong siya when it comes to formal training and to help professionalize the industry. Kasi there was a time na hindi naman nire-require yung profession, yung degree para matanggap ka sa newsroom. And in other countries, you don't have to have a degree in journalism. Usually, nagsisimula siya sa isang undergrad, a specialized course, and then you take
Magkaka-niche ka na lang.
Magkakaroon ka. Di ba maganda economics, let's say, undergrad mo, tapos nag-aral ka ng 1 or 2 years in journalism, or anthropology, or political science. Sa atin kasi baliktad Mag-journalism ka, you become familiar with the skills, with everything, pero eventually doon ka mag-specialize. Like what you did.
Generalist to specialist.
Ngayon, what makes a journalist or is a journalist? Usually, pag ginawa mo yung lahat ng proseso, you abide by the values, the tenets of journalism. Technically, what you're doing is journalism, but it doesn't still make you necessarily a journalist. Kasi isang factor dun sa magiging profession na isang journalist, ng journalism is kailangan meron kang discipline itself. And ito baka hindi magusto ng iba, no? Kailangan mo talaga na acceptance within the industry. Kasi kunwari fresh grad ako, ginawa ko lahat ng ginagawa ng isang journalist, yung tinatawag niyang scientific method. Ang tawag natin sa journalism nun is objectivity. That's the closest that we can get to the scientific method. Pero kahit gawin niya ng fresh grad for the next 10 years, kung hindi pa rin niya nakukuha yung respect ng peers niya, hindi siya mako-consider na journalist. It's someone doing journalism. So that basically what separates, let's say, an individual content creator doing journalism occasionally on social media. Kailangan ng acceptance and respect by your peers. Importante yan.
I think at one point, sir, nagkaroon ng bill na they want to have like an exam before you become accredited.
Parang
as a
PRC,
journalist.
parang
Parang
regulatory
do you agree with that? Na
Okay.
parang dapat magkaroon ng exam.
Pag nababasa ko yung ibang news outlet ngayon, parang kailangan exam. Hindi ko nakasabihin kung anong news outlet. Pero outlets. Kasi medyo mabantot yung pagkakasulat. Pero, not kidding aside, hindi siya, counterproductive yan
Yung pagkakaroon ng...
Kasi exam tapos magla-licensing ka. And kasi kakaiba yung creature ng journalism. It's guaranteed by the Constitution. Nakahinge siya rin sa Bill of Rights, sa freedom of expression and speech. Sino ba yung natural adversary ng journalism?
Yeah.
Yung government.
Regulator. Yeah.
Sino nagkikreate ng exam na yun? Sino nagbibigay ng license? Imagine yun, let's say, hindi nagustuhan ni Bongbong Marcos yung report mo, and then you're up for renewal sa license mo.
That's true.
Hindi mo makukuha yan. Tsaka miski summa cum laude ka sa journal school, hindi
No guarantee.
mo maghanap ng balita.
No
That's
guarantee.
true.
Right?
And it's the same with you.
Yeah, and if you'll permit me to zoom out a little more, this entire process of the institution of journalism being challenged by forces not normally part of journalism, the conversation. I think it's I embrace the process of being challenged. Kasi alam naman natin na maraming established journalists in our industry have not been true to their calling. Diba? So this I mean, maraming abusado sa industriya natin.
True.
Right?
Sino ba yan?
No, so this whole process na the public is challenging the veracity of our word, of the truths we put out there. we should welcome it because it's a cleansing process, eh, di ba? Dati porket I work for an established organization, journalist na ako. Now that's no longer the case. Di ba? You're open to hindi porket you wear a press ID, tama na yung sinasabi
Hindi
mo.
kalaki, no?
Yeah, press ID. No, it's you actually have to prove yourself every single day.
Yeah.
Right? It's dati you put it out on the newspaper, on TV, there's no way of challenging your version of the truth. Iniisip lang nung kung if they disagree with you, it's just here or okay. Now it's out there,
Yeah.
right? And we should embrace it. We should embrace it.
May sense of entitlement, no? Pag nagiging part ka ng isang media company.
I'm guilty of that. I know. Ramdam yun. Di ba? I mean, it's human nature. It's human nature.
But would you say, sirs, na now, tamad na kasi yung mga reporters and researchers kasi nga merong sense of entitlement eh. And would you think na actually that affects din yung traditional journalist versus yung mga content creators na they consider themselves as news disseminators din?
Nasabihin ako, nakalimutan. Pero I wouldn't, accept the idea na tamad. Kahit sa era naman may tamad tsaka may masipag eh. Ngayon kasi marami lang tools available to us and to the new generation when it comes to doing research. And it's a good thing. Although syempre ako, very useful sa akin yung yung pumasok ko sa era na it's more about reading. Kasi I subscribe to the idea that when you read something, you make use of much more brain cells.
The discipline,
The
basically.
discipline itself. Tsaka dati walang Google, di ba?
Yeah.
You have to really put everything in your head.
Catalog
Stock knowledge.
cards. Tsaka catalog cards sa library.
Tsaka yung mga inabutan ko na veterano before sa industry. Pucha, alam mo yung
Yeah.
yung background.
Yeah.
Sabi ko, ang galing nito. Ito yung,
Institutional memory.
ito yung Google.
Yeah.
Di ba? So, I wouldn't take it against the generation today when it comes to the ease of doing research. But they have to make use of it.
Kaso paano nila madadevelop yung na-develop mo, sir, while reading, having stock knowledge?
Mas mahirap yun. Kasi parang nandyan yung easy way eh. You have to do it the traditional way at the same time. Parang ngayon, di ba? Nakikita ko yung iba eh. Ngayon ko na-discover talaga yung power ng yung mga Gemini na yan. Kasi ini-ignore ko yan for the longest time. Eh, nakalagay pala sa phone ng Samsung, automatic
Right,
Gemini. No?
right.
Mas madali siya kaysa sa Google. And then, mag-experiment ka, I can do scripts for you. Ngayon kung tamad ka, siya gagawa ng work for you eh. Pero what does that make you? Mechanical yung magiging work mo, di ba? So magiging bobo ka pagdating ng araw. Ang tumatalino yung yung AI. Di ba? That's a challenge itself.
And that's I think, the innate advantage of the mindset of a content creator. Because wala siyang entitled mentality of having a platform which will automatically push out its output every day, right? You have to find new and interesting content every day. Make that content, make it in a way that resonates with your public. Right? So, dun pa lang, dehadong-dehado ka na if you are a beat reporter,
Yes.
tapos kalaban mo content creator na malikot yung mind, always looking for new avenues, and you are focused on that narrow path of yours, dehado ka.
Yung beat reporting, I mentioned that, no? Nung ko pa iniisip na masyadong siya, parang that puts journalists in a straitjacket.
Agreed.
Yung mismong structure kasi napaka-restrictive for creativity, for doing stories. Mas maganda ngayon mag-focus ka sa issues. Yun ang gawin mong beat. Imagine mo, beat reporter ka ngayon, talagang lalamunin ka ng buhay ng content creator.
100% correct.
Ang gusto ko lang i-point out kasi, journalism masyado siyang malalim in the sense na kailangan meron kang part siya ng state of mind mo eh. Hindi pwede nag-aral ka ng 4 years ng journalism, nag-practice ka ng 5 years, necessarily na-embrace mo yung principles. Hindi pa rin eh. Yung bubuin mo talaga yung rigor, then you have to build your body of work to be able to establish yourself as a journalist. At ang nakakalimutan ng iba kasi, whether you like it or not, pag serious journalist ka, may kausa ka eh. Social consciousness. Dapat meron kang ganon.
Okay.
No, I think if you are a journalist at this point in time, if you are part of the audience, if you are an information stakeholder at this time in history, it's a very exciting period
Yeah.
because if you're part of the audience, if you're a stakeholder, you get insights which the old system never gave you, right? If you are a journalist, wow, it's a winnowing period. Ibig sabihin, talagang the chaff will be separated from the grain. And we should welcome that because the high performers really get their due. And yung mga ibang nakikisabay lang, parang, well, they're important, but you have an entire range of choice kung aling voice ang bibigyan mo ng halaga.
Yeah.
I think we should embrace it.
I want to get back to what you guys said about yung sino ka, ano ka ba dapat para maituring kang journalist, no? Would you say dapat merong mga core values na ito yung masasabi ko na kung meron ka nito, aside from recognition from your peers, sabi nga kausa, social consciousness. Pero ano ba yung mga parang main values that are very important that would actually separate a journalist from, say, a content creator, an influencer, etc., etc.?
Number one, you should know the objective process of journalism. Ngayon kasi nakakapika na, kailangan ipaliwanag mo ng paulit-ulit to, no? Even journalists na kasama natin, hindi naintindihan ibig sabihin objectivity. Akala nila pag objective ka, dapat balance. They mistake that for fairness. They don't even understand yung idea ng false balance. Okay? Objectivity pertains to the process itself. That tax, me, myself, you, anybody else would like to verify whether something is right or wrong. Kunwari, sinabi mo sa akin, magnanakaw tong politiko na to, may kaso. Una akong tatanungin, ba't mo sinasabi sa akin yan? Ano yung motibo mo? Anong credibility mo to talk about that? At sino yung mga independent sources, not just one or two or three, na pwede ko makausap to verify what you're telling me. It's a constant process of verification. Kakausapin ko lahat yun. And then I will come up with my own conclusions based on facts. Ako kasi ang tingin ko sa facts building blocks ng truth yan eh. They're not exactly the same all the time. Ngayon, pag ginawa natin yung proseso na yan, kakausapin kita, yung inaakusahan mo, kakausapin ko. Hindi yung ano lang perfunctorily na, sir, okay na ba?
We tried to get his comment, but no comment as of press time.
Paano kung Jimmy Jebs pala? Hindi ka masagot, di ba?
Sorry, bukas ka na.
Bukas na lang. Pag sinunod yan ng kahit sinong journalist, hindi naman ibig sabihin pareho ng conclusions eh. Kasi depende sa ruta yan eh. But we follow the process. That's objectivity. And doing that requires integrity. Kasi pag pinrostitute mo yung profession mo, magiging polluted yung magiging output ng buong proseso na yun. So, dapat meron kang independence, meron kang integrity, the objective process, which is not exactly a core value in journalism. Tapos yun, dapat naintindihan mo yung idea ng false balance. Ayan. Sa akin kasi journey yan eh. Hindi porke nakascoop ka ngayon, sikat ka na for the first 3 years of your career, pwede ka na mag-retire, sikat na ako. Diba? Hindi. You have to build your credibility over time, and you might do something that might destroy everything you worked hard for.
May I offer a rejoinder to that? Slightly unorthodox. What Christian described was the ideal, of course. Many of us are far from ideal, myself included. And I understand in principle why what he said is important. But if you are unable to embody these ideals, as I am unable to, I feel personally that the next best thing is to be transparent about it, right? So in my case, if you've been to the platform ng Insider PH, the website, we declared our biases. It's there. We are pro-capitalism. We are pro-liberal economics. We are so. You know that what you will read from us is pro-big business, pro-this, pro-that, diba? That's, for me, the second best thing to the ideal. Diba? So parang, okay, biased ako, pero alam mo naman yun, diba? So, ganun na lang.
Yeah, I totally get it. Kasi ganun din naman dapat talaga, no? Dapat merong stand ng isang news organization. So, you cannot be faulted for having that bias as long as you pursue your journalism with integrity. Diba? Although baka sabihin na yung contradiction in terms of pro big business tapos
Professor Ian just endorsed my point of view.
hindi, okay. Hindi, kasi sa ibang bansa, sa US for instance, diba? Nag-endorse yung mga news organizations eh.
Financial Times, The Economist, I mean, very clear. Very clear.
Very clear kung ano yung position nila. Sa atin kasi masyadong rigid, no?
And we try to make everyone happy kasi, di ba? I mean,
I think it's a very Filipino thing eh.
Oo.
Parang
People pleasers.
yeah.
people pleasers, very unconfrontational,
Yeah.
confrontational, pero we love stabbing people behind their
Yeah.
talking people behind their backs. Talking about people behind their backs. Yun ang problema ng Pilipino.
Pero like for example, sir, no, dapat ba ang mga newspapers or traditional news outlets disclose na, nag-a-add sa amin si ganito, ganyan.
Okay. Yun lang, naalala ko na sabihin ko. Sa bias. Kasi akala ng mga tao, pag journalist ka, wala ka dapat bias.
Tinuro mo yan sa amin, sir.
Imagine mo pag wala kang bias. Di ba bobo ka nun? Ang stupid mo. Paano may re-report isang bagay na walang bias? I cannot imagine doing that. Kunwari, may nanggahasa, may ginahasa, proven by evidence. At the very least, meron nag-akusa. Paano mo sasabihin yun? Something happened to a girl. And this thing that happened to her was done by this guy. Anong klaseng balita yan? Kasi ang rules of journalism, you write something, you publish something that you can prove based on facts that you have available with you. Okay? Pwede magbago yan, yung tinatawag na journalistic truth, diba? So sasabihin mo, this guy is accused of raping this girl. Hindi mo pa pangalanan for instance, diba? Pero bias common yan eh. At dapat meron ka sa journalist. Kasi kanino kakakampi? Doon sa nang-aapi o doon sa inaapi? Diba? At the very least, you can be fair to the one being accused of wrongdoing. Diba? Pero hindi pwedeng tanggalin mo yung bias mo. To me, that's a very stupid thing.
It's a very human thing to have that.
And I think every output naman is parang a reflection of who you are, like your background, where you come from. Parang lalabas at lalabas yung biases sa story.
Sorry, parang sa dyaryo. Kunwari, ikaw as a journalist, galit ka sa you don't like same-sex marriage. Yun ang mo eh. Yun ang paniniwala mo, di ba? Not necessarily religious, pero talagang binasa mo kunwari yung proposed law, yung bill, hindi ka naniniwala. Pero kung journalist ka, you have to write about it. Dapat may cover yung kausapin mo yung sa tingin mo, ina-abhor mo. Di ba? Sa akin, ang naging experience ko, mas mahirap mag-interview ng isang politiko na gusto mo kaysa rin sa ayaw mo.
That's
Really?
Mas mahirap.
Okay.
Kasi yung,
I get that.
alam mo,
Dahil kailangan mo rendahan yung sarili mo.
Oo.
Okay,
Kasi,
got it.
Madaling bembangin yung, sorry.
Right.
You have to be critical eh.
Yeah,
diba? And yet mahirap pag gusto mo siya.
Yun nga. Tatago mo na lang. Pero hahanapan mo talaga ng hard-hitting questions na kailangan itanong sa kanya.
But I wanna go back dun sa pag-a-add na dapat ba i-disclose ng news outlets na nag-a-add sila?
Kailangan bang i-disclose ng...
For the sake of transparency.
Number one, for the most part, you will see it. Right?
Disclose naman.
You will see it. Sometimes you will not see it. This is the thing. Because, and this dovetails back to my earlier example that not all our colleagues are upfront with what they do, right? A lot of our colleagues are friends with newsmakers and parties na hindi nag-advertise. But pag nakita mo yung output niya, it's a de facto advertisement for whatever that other party is doing, right? And they do it on the sly. So, ideally, in the absence of disclosure, I think it is incumbent upon the audience to discern. Di ba? Makikita mo naman. Right?
Two-way talaga siya, no?
Yeah, I mean, and if there are constraints on the part of the media organization about disclosure, makikita mo pa rin naman sa body of work, sa output. Like, I think over the election period, you'd see on social media the kind of criticism certain outfits are getting for putting up a string of articles about certain personality, right?
Sikat.
You, as part of an aware and thinking audience, it's plain to see naman, right? So, I'm sure the organization, and this is being generous and kind to our colleagues, they have constraints, right? For whatever reason, whether it hews to the tenets of journalism or not, probably not. Sa akin, kung audience ka, huwag mo na hintayin. I mean, obvious naman eh. Di ba? And this is part of the process of you becoming a smarter consumer of information. Discernment, really.
But that requires proper information on the part of the public.
100%.
Kasi hindi lahat, not everyone can read the news.
Yan nga eh. Gusto
Correct.
ko yung sinabi mo, Dax, about that. Kasi amid the presence of so many AI, deepfakes, synthetic media, ano ba yung role ng journalist to create a smarter audience? Paano mo gagawin yun?
Sense making. You try to help make sense of things. Kasi, it's an old model of chaotic information,
Right.
di ba? Pwede may order in certain aspects ng cyberspace, pero you're there to make sense. Explain mo sa kanila bakit ganito. Although kayang gawin siya ng AI, di ba? Pero hindi laging tama yung AI, honestly. Di ba? So that's still the role. Try to make sense of certain information.
May tanong ako doon, and this is for my own benefit. Okay, the sense maker in a crowd of 1,000 people, he's just one person.
Yeah.
And there's this noisy crowd of 1,000 people spewing all sorts of information, some true, some BS, di ba? So, how do you get your message across?
That's a challenge. Ako, I try to experiment in terms of storytelling. Lumabas ako rin sa framework na traditional ways of storytelling lang dapat.
Okay.
Print, broadcast, online. I try to infuse lessons from stand-up comedy. Lalabas mo yung natural sarcasm mo. Later on, I'm going to explore yung short films. Yung mga 1 to 2 minute short films to illustrate the point. Kasi kailangan mo talaga meron kang meron kang punchline eh.
You're telling me your natural sarcasm isn't enough?
Mas asshole ako in real life. Alam mo yan.
Sanitized version pa to.
Nagbe-behave pa ako, pero mas asshole ako.
Okay, all right.
Actually, kung hindi ako nasa line ng journalism, ako eh.
Yeah.
Hindi man siguro stand-up comedian, pero baka may gag show ako. Mas marami akong kagagawa.
Okay, all right. Love it, love it.
Ito kasi example lang. But, punta tuloy yung tubig sa mukha ko. Ngayon kasi, ito isang challenge na. For instance, yung vertical videos, yung TikTok. Paano mo lalabanan yung TikTok kung journalist ka?
Yeah.
Miski wala ka sa beat, no? Sir, meron akong gustong gawing explainer pang TikTok. Pag dinaanan mo yan sa proseso ng newsroom, aabutin ka siguro mga 2 days, 3 days.
Kapag labas ng produkto, sobrang linis na, sobrang pulido. Wala nang ano.
Oo, ganyan. Nasa network ako before eh. Nung gagawa ka ng podcast, just ko pati title, dadaanan sa sensor, etc. Embedded sa turnaround ng content creation eh, di ba? Magagawa mo yan, let's say, in an hour or even 30 minutes. O kunwari, na-bad trip ka sa ginawa ng Senado. Guys, napanood nyo ba yun sa Senado? Blah, blah, blah. Kung hindi mo gagawin yung technique na yun sa journalist, paano mo tatalunan? Tatalunan mo sasabayan yung mga content creators na nag-viral na yung sinasabi nila. Now, what makes us different? Ito kasi isa mga pitfalls. Ito na-realize ko to. No? Diba sa journalism, as in life, wag mo angkinin yung hindi sa'yo. Diba? That's what you call attribution. But, na-imagine nyo ba, pag gumawa ka na explainer sa online, sa TikTok, hindi mo technically kailangan ng sources.
Right.
Pwede ka makalusot by using your
You can assert it on your own. Yeah.
But that makes it an opinion, di ba?
Yep.
Yun ang ginagawa ng content creators. Pag journalist ka ba, pwede mo na bang gawin yun? Siguro oo, siguro hindi. Pero wala namang pipigil sa'yo na maglagay ng sources.
Sure.
Di ba? But make it snappy, make it very, very engaging para makasabay ka. Basically, we learn from what these other content creators are doing while trying to still be loyal or somehow try to respect and push the envelope when it comes to our values. Yun ang challenge eh. Para mabilis ka
Those ethics really tend to hobble journalism practitioners, ano? I mean,
in a way,
because the other people will say, well, bakit ko ba kailangan gawin yan? Eh, the audience doesn't care naman eh. Di ba? Parang, so, I understand.
Guidance yun eh.
Ideally.
For example, galit na galit ka kay Cheese Escudero. Kunwari lang, di ba? Gagawin mo ba yung gagawin ng ibang mga content creators? Oy, si Senator Kilay. Di ba? Alam ko, tumaas ang kilay natin sa ginawa ni Senator Cheese, no? Magpapa-microblading na ba ako o magtatato ako ng kilay ko? Di ba, ethical yung pag ginawa mo sa journalist? Nakakatawa, mag-viral yun. Pag ginawa ko yun, yari, di ba?
Right.
Pero pwede ko siyang gawin.
Right.
Yeah.
Hindi ko sinasabing, hindi ko in-emphasize yung kilay ni Cheese, no? Pero ang point ko, pwede siyang gawin ng ordinary content creator. Pero pag sa journalist, hindi pwede eh. Mag-focus ka rin sa ginagawa niya. And explain to people bakit hindi tama.
We really are fighting with one arm.
Yes, totoo yan. Totoo yan.
Given all that, kung kayo masusunod, tingin nyo, how would you redesign the Philippine journalism industry now?
Hirap na
In terms of, lalo for me, yung business model. Kasi I think a lot of good journalists are now removed from the scene. Kasi una, ang baba ng sweldo.
Sure.
Parang sobrang liit ng wiggle room for you to do something that, or parang create a story that's really hard-hitting. Parang daming rules. Hindi ka incentivized to do good journalism.
Yeah.
So kayo, pareho na rin kayong company, you have your own media companies now.
May empire na kami.
Oo, exactly.
May empire na kami.
Pero ano yung magandang business model siguro?
So, Dax muna.
You know, that continuum of discovery that Ian described earlier, I understand that intuitively, and I'm embracing it because in my mind, that line is filled with chaos, and I am a big fan of chaos as a process of weeding out the weaker players, the weaker voices.
Darwin yan journalism ba?
Basically.
Very Dax yan.
Diba? Medyo masakit. Maraming masasaktan. But I am looking forward to this point that Ian described when people will realize, kailangan pala natin. Well, of course, the process of realization, it could take a long time. It will be painful. People will get hurt. Maraming masascam.
So for you ba, parang okay na yung ganitong business model kasi ang importante is yung result na sino ba yung matitira? Ganun?
Yeah, partly, yes. But we need players who will be present constantly during that period, right? We need players who will stand as exemplars during the chaos, because the public's discovery, the public's realization will not simultaneously come at one point. Some will realize it earlier, some later, and they say, teka, ang gulo. But wait, this podcast ni Ian has been making sense for the last 5 years. Kala mo
Ganda ng segue. Pinag-usapan namin yan.
Really. Someone has to stand as a steady exemplar during this period. At kailangan matatag ang ang loob niya at ang standing niya in the environment. Some will realize it here, some stakeholders here, and some will never realize it at all. But that's fine. That's fine for me. It's, diba? So yeah, chaos. Big fan.
Ako yung big business, big corporations, talagang mag-i-exist sila, hindi mawawala yan. Pero as you all know, diba, political economy ng mass media natin, very prone to use a very mild term, very prone to conflicts of interest.
Sure.
Saka nakakita ng big news organization na hindi backed by big businesses, di ba? So that's a given. And honestly, yung big corporate structure can be counterintuitive and counterproductive in terms of facing the challenge of other content creators online. Bakit? Yung structure itself, the processes involved in that company can stifle, let's say, creativity. Pinapabagal yung buong proseso, diba? But at the same time, if you go past that, you can make use of all those resources by that company to launch a strong push.
So, stepping stone mo na lang si...
Pwede yun, diba? Pero in terms of business model kasi, I started sa journalism, baka sabihin mo, drama, no? I started sa journalism sa campus, high school. na-expose ako dun sa idea ng independence sa journalism. That's a non-negotiable to me. So, nung nag-join ako ng big newsrooms, Inquirer, tapos ABS-CBN, malalaki yun, di ba? Sabi ko, ano ba yung business model na pwede talaga for you to be able to be truly independent as a journalist? Pag independence, hindi ibig sabihin wala kang compromise. Pero yung compromise mo dapat hindi siya lumalampas sa red lines mo. Okay? So, I got into this platform as a consequence of what happened to me in my previous company. Hindi dahil, ginusto ko tong platform na to. Pero yung push, talagang it's a matter of necessity. And then, pinag-aralan ko iba't ibang mga platforms available to us online for a journalist to be independent. So far, ang nakikita ko, YouTube. Facebook kasi maraming questions when it comes. Ganun din naman sa YouTube eh. Kasi ang problema natin ngayon, dependent tayo sa algorithms at sa mga platforms. Basically, they can decide kung mababasa ka o hindi. Meron silang mga parameters dyan, pero technically, who knows everything about those parameters, di ba? So, in terms of keeping your independence, mag-work yun sa YouTube. TikTok, hindi eh. Bakit? May presence ka ron, pero if you want to monetize it, paano? Lalapit ka sa politiko. Medyo gagawa ko ng content, nabaharap ng content ko. So far, itong business model na to can help people be truly independent. But I don't advise fresh grads to do this. Kasi maraming pitfalls to eh. Hindi pwedeng pag-graduate mo, alam ko na yan kasi napapanood ko, ang daming content creators.
You need to have a certain level of credibility and reputation na bago ka pumasok.
Definitely, pero ngayon kasi, yung iba hindi naman credible pero believable eh. Diba yun?
Damn.
May ganun eh.
That's good.
Yung
TikTok natin yun.
Not credible but believable.
Hindi, diba naniniwala sila sa'yo pero hindi naman necessarily credible ka.
Yeah.
So, natatalo mo yung mga taong truly credible. So, yun ang problema ron. Diba? Kung mo itong sabihin ko? Hindi, ito na. Nanan mo ako eh. Pinatronize mo ako.
It works.
Hindi, pero seryoso, kapag fresh grad ka, I would still encourage that person to enter big newsrooms para matutuhan nila yung proseso. Yung editing, importante yan.
True.
Kasi pag hindi ka dumaan sa editor, parang pili mo yabang mo, yung palang baho na English mo, di ba? Ganon.
And again, what he described is the ideal. And if you cannot reach that ideal in the absence of independence and objectivity, at the very least be transparent and allow the audience the luxury of deciding.
Kung tatangkilikin ka.
Right. Yeah. Right? I mean, look, everyone knows I'm pro big business. No, but they're free to unfollow, they're free to leave, or they're free to consume our output. Even if you hate big business, even if you hate mining, you'd still want to know how these guys think, right? Para maging effective yung advocacy mo against them. Hey, here it is, right? It's for you to.
A lot have been said about fake news, diba? Role of journalism amid all the fake news. And we had this conversation before na for you, dapat sige, hayaan lang natin na magkaroon ng fake news kasi nga it's a chance to weed out what's real, what's not, ganyan.
Marketplace of ideas concept pa pala.
Mukhang di ka magkakasundo dito.
Very libertarian.
Gusto kong makita from different perspective nyo, no?
Okay.
Kung paano ba dapat, anong role natin dito sa...
Right. If you'll allow me to use the imagery I described to you before, if you've ever been to a gaming arcade, Time Zone, and you know this game na Whack-A-Mole, right? You have a small rubber mallet, tapos maraming butas, lumalabas yung mole, hahampasin mo, and you score, right? The thing is, the moles never end. They never stop, di ba? Parating may mole. Mauubusan ka lang ng oras, but you will never win that game. Score ka ng marami, but hindi mauubos yung moles. I feel personally that the process of fighting fake news is somewhat like that, right? And personally, nakakapagod. So in my mind, like, okay, I'm going to put out authentic news. Bahala na kayo kung gusto niyong maniwala o hindi. Basta nandito Now, whether maniwala kayo o hindi, up to you guys. Now,
I get it na parang yung advocacy against fake news, the reality is hindi talaga siya kayang mawala lahat. So for you, at least be a good example of how it should be
Right,
done.
right, right. And this the advocacy as we are seeing it now is, I feel, not the most efficient use of my personal energy and my personal resources. Which is not to say it's not important. It's important, right? Hindi ko lang kayang gawin.
But kasi to be fair, usually, no, yung fact checkers operate in a bubble in a way na yung nare-reach nilang audience are people who are already...
Sila nag-uusap.
Oo. They already know what's real and what's not.
Reaching to the converted in a way, right?
I feel the same way.
But
Where do I begin? Na dun sa marketplace of ideas concept kasi I used to subscribe to that idea nung simula pa lang ako na-expose ito sa problem of fake news or disinformation. I said, let them be.
Okay.
People are smart enough until I realized they're not.
hindi pala.
Kasi that requires a lot of education.
Right.
And where do you even begin to talk about it? To be able to make an informed decision, dapat meron kang facility. Meron kang faculty to be able to discern. Diba?
Right.
Eh kung wala ka nun, talagang kakalat. So sa akin, I'm not a big fan of fact-checking in the Philippines as they do it now.
Right.
Because number one, I have this lingering question. Meron ba tayong ginawang study as to the effectiveness of our fact-checking over the years?
Yeah.
So Argentina, they did something about this. Yung sa Chequeado, nakita nila na hindi naman nababago yung isip ng mga tao when it comes to a particular election, but at least it made them pause.
Okay.
Kunwari,
Okay.
finact-check to, hindi ko muna share.
Okay.
So nagkaroon ng behavioral impact in that sense. Pero whether nagbago silang isip, hindi nila masabi yun.
Right.
Sa atin, I don't know. But ako, I definitely agree na we read fact checkers. Okay? But to romanticize it, to think of that solely as, of course, yung mga fact checkers, sabi, hindi naman kami ganyan mag-isip eh. Pero parang ganun kasi yung dating. Sa akin kasi, miski lahat ng journalists, lahat ng academics in the Philippines, pag sabay-sabay nagdo ng fact checking, hindi natin matatalo yung spread ng fake news. Lumabas na yung laman ng toothpaste eh. Diba? Ang hirap habulin nun eh. Mas mabilis yung spread ng disinformation kaysa paghabol. And by its very nature, fact-checking is reactive. Diba? Yan ang sabi lang, meron silang tinatawag, term, nakalimutan ko ngayon. Yung pre-fact-checking, yung forget. Sabi nila, bobo ko na. They anticipate mo na kung ano yung dapat.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So, ginagawa rin yun. Pero, again, it's very, very reactive. And sa akin kasi, you should be able to be more strategic and sophisticated in terms of targeting our audience with our information. Tama yung sinasabi ni Dax, no? I totally agree. Just let the truth spread from your platform. But you have to do it strategically. Kasi paano kung confine ka nun sa bubble na yan? Ang problema, lahat ng pinag-uusapan natin, we're at the mercy of the platforms eh. Diba? We can play their game in terms of gaming the algorithm if we think we can do that, diba? Pero ultimately sila magde-decide kung saan mapupunta.
Sure.
So that explains the importance of putting pressure on these platforms as well.
Right.
Ito, contentious issue to, no? Example, Facebook, private company, but doing something which can be considered as a public good. So how much regulation should be done when it comes to Facebook? It's a private company. But ang problema, the very nature of the good that it is making a lot of money out of, that concerns information. Hindi yung simpleng nagbebenta ka ng beer, di ba? Yun ang pinagkaiba eh. That's why it's a raging debate.
I think you just saw the key philosophical difference between Ian and myself, diba? I mean, a classically trained journalist has an advocacy mindset. He wants to change the status quo, right? In my case, I'm like, this is the status quo, I'm gonna work with it.
But actually, good perspectives eh. Kasi pareho kayong nag-thrive in your respective careers.
Right.
You both did still doing good journalism. Magkaiba lang ng approach.
Tsaka empire kami eh. Meron kami one-person empire. Diba?
No, it's
Joke kayo, makakala empire kami ha.
we are all climbing a mountain, right? Yung Mount Everest, hindi ang isang path lang. 3 path paakyat ng Mount Everest. Diba? 4, if you consider the most dangerous path. Maraming paraan.
Siguro last question na, no? Kasi we're running out of time. But what advice can you give? First, doon sa mga bata na gustong maging journalist. And then second, doon sa mga journalist who feel stifled because of probably especially yung mga nasa traditional outlets, no? Anong mabibigay niyong advice sa kanila on how to do good quality journalism at this time?
Sa Idol muna, sa Idol.
Okay.
Okay, can I speak to our colleagues and leave the speaking to the younger generation, to the professional speaker to
sige,
younger
sige.
generations?
Hihirit din ako sa colleagues eh.
Please. No. Okay. I know whence I speak because I used to be part of a large organization which was the final word in news for a long time, right? I know how it feels to have the rug pulled out under you. It is difficult. It is humbling, especially kung mayabang katulad ko. Oh, shit. Ang hirap nun, right? And dati, pag sinulat mo, yun na yun. You are the first and the final word. To have that entitlement, that privilege removed from you, and see a broad mass of people speaking in a louder and more compelling voice than yours. Not easy. So what needs to be done is a total reset. Parang, alam mo yung mind wipe, di ba? Clean slate. If you've ever played with the magic slate, it's difficult and it is absolutely scary. And I think the first hurdle you have to get over as a traditional journalist is this mindset of looking down and talking down
Yeah.
To
to the competition, to the content creator ka lang, vlogger ka lang, blogger ka lang. If you have that mindset, you've already lost. Because many of these people are doing a better job of disseminating information, whether correct or wrong information. They're doing it better than you are, right? So you have to take that out, your mindset.
I totally agree. Yun na yun, may stamp of approval na yun.
Thank you.
I totally agree. Oh, yan ang problema kasi parang a lot of our colleagues are very unwilling and unable to adapt to the change. Kasi yung writing on the wall, ang laki-laki. Hindi mo siya mamimiss eh. Ang problema nandun lagi yung fear. Of course, the idea of change always induces fear in anyone. Ang problema, wala kang choice eh. You have to do it eh. Ako honestly, nakawa ko rin sa mga colleagues natin before sa Inquirer. With what happened to the Philippine Daily Inquirer. Hindi kasi kinaya nung adjustment when it comes to change. And this is also the sad story of many big newsrooms eh. Kasi ang problema, the captains of the ship are basically dinosaurs. Whether you like it or not. And when they heard of those buzzwords na we have to do digital content, etc., they might have been open to it, but they were not capable of it. And they were unwilling to bring in fresh, mag-infuse ng fresh blood sa newsroom to do it.
Conceptually, they were open to it.
Yeah.
But doing it is another thing entirely.
And how to do it.
Right.
Diba? So, yun ang challenge. And we really need to adjust and basically embrace and change. Yun ang importante. Kung sa tingin mo, huwag kang mag-isip na pang-print ka lang. Na magaling ako magsulat, pang-print lang ako. It won't die, honestly. I think that the trajectory for the newspaper industry is that it won't die, but it would become a niche market, just like vinyl. Yun ang theory ko, no? I may be wrong, pero nagpapaka-intellectual lang
I
ako.
kind of agree.
Pero yun ang inisip ko. Hindi siya mawawala.
And now, by the way, yung ating colleagues in broadcast television are entering that phase where print was a decade ago, the start of the slow decline.
Yeah.
So they would do well to heed the lessons of print from the last decade, I think.
Problema lang, they need to adjust in terms of mentality. Kasi yung presence nila online, they still think in terms of TV. So, nakakurbata pa rin. They're thinking na pinapanood ako, television, at ako yung authority rito. But that's not the case. Diba? Makakita ka ng mga content creators na millions of followers, pero pag nakita mo, nakasando. Mukhang mabawi hininga, mukhang may putok, diba? Pero ang daming nanonood.
Totoo.
Diba? So, paano matatalunin yun?
Paano naman, sir, yung mga bata na gustong pumasok sa journalism?
Sa akin gano'n, no? You develop the skills as well as the character. Kasi pwedeng ang galing mo magsulat, ang galing mo lahat when it comes to creating journalistic content online, etc., etc. Pero kung wala ka ng proper character, number one, integrity, that will make you a prostitute. And we have enough prostitutes already. Diba? So, hintayin natin mag-retire yung mga prostitutes. Marami yan eh. Diba?
Legalized prostitution, pare.
Legal na naman eh. De facto, diba? De facto legal na eh. Yun, that's number one. Skill yan eh. Skill and character. Lagi magkasama yan. Pwede namang sobrang taas sa integrity mo, unskilled ka naman. So, honest ka pero tanga. Diba? Ganun yan eh.
You're telling the truth but you're not effective.
Yeah.
That's sad. That's sad.
So, dapat sabay. And I would encourage them to join news organizations just to learn the ropes. Hindi pwedeng content creation ka right after.
Wag muna mag-tax first.
Pwedeng gawin. Wala lang pipigil sa kanila eh. Actually, isa kong pet peeve ganito eh. Yung mga established names sa broadcast, pupunta sa online, gagawa ng content creation. Pinagkakitaan lang naman eh.
Yeah.
Nagre-raid ng bahay, nagpe-feature ng sapatos, nag-interview ng laos.
Hey, I can speak from experience when I say I love junk food, right? I love junk food over healthy food. The same manner, masarap ang chips, pare. Masarap ang, di ba?
Don't get me wrong.
Pero walang sustansya.
Don't get me wrong.
Masarap eh.
Don't get me wrong. Kinukonsume ko yung content nila.
Yeah.
Pero sa akin, wag na silang mag-pontificate doon sa original platform nila na kami, we're fighting disinformation. Hindi mo ginagamit kahit papano yung platform mo na mas malaki. Alam mo, mas malaki kita nila
Right, sure,
sa YouTube
sure,
kaysa sa broadcast. That's a fact. Huwag ka na mag-pontificate. Kumaga embrace your Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Or
Sabi
your
nyo nga,
person.
transparent dapat.
Sabi mo na.
Or straight Mr. Hyde. Forget Dr.
Sabi mo lang, guys, welcome to my vlog and totoo, mababaw na tao ko eh. Pero hindi ko maamin kasi nasa big network ako. Pero ito talaga ako, no? Medyo mahinahin ko kote ko, kaya ito yung kaya ko.
This guy.
Magiging
I swear.
transparent. Yun lang.
Oh my God.
Alright.
May questions pa? Okay, before we end,
Okay.
May tatamaan dun eh, no?
gusto mo bang pangalanan, sir?
Ano? Sila,
Okay, so before we end, meron kaming pakulo dito, no? So every time meron kaming guest, they put a question here and then it should be answered by the next guest. So dito, meron tayong 5 questions. You get to pick one to answer and then mag-iwan din kayo ng question of your own.
Teka, lugi. Tayo na yung last episode. Okay, anyway. Carry on.
yung question for the next guest.
Ano yung meron kaming season 2, diba? Pag season 2 na yun.
Ilan bang sa isang season?
10 episodes.
10 episodes. So 10, hindi, not necessarily 10 guests.
Tayo yung season ender, pare.
Season end.
Finale.
So,
Okay.
sure,
Alright.
diba? Pang malakasan yung
Baka
season.
wala nang kasunod to.
Sige.
Na. Yan yung mga questions. This one's, have you ever broken anyone's heart?
What?
Kasi any question eh.
Okay. Have you ever broken anyone's heart? I don't think so.
Talaga?
I've had my heart broken several times.
Share na lang.
No, hindi siguro.
Yes or no?
Okay, you know what? I might have. Pero hindi love.
Ano?
My former editor, the late Ping Galang, I think when I went full on pro-capitalism, pro-business, I might have. Because this guy is a classically trained journalist who believed it should be done in a certain way. And my style of journalism has always been I embrace access journalism. Diba? Ganun ang style ko. And I get all the scoops because of that. When he saw that, I might have.
Buhay pa ba siya?
He died nung pandemic.
Alright.
Biggest risk you've made in your life? Leaving the comforts of a big news organization. That was very, very risky, honestly. And that was the time when Actually, I was fired from my job a week before my son was born. I cannot imagine a bigger risk at that time. Pero that also provided some sort of distraction, a happy one for me. Kasi hindi ko siya masyadong inisip. Pero honestly, no, I'm highly competitive. I took that as a challenge. Sabi ko, punyeta kayo. In my head, di ba? Hindi ako magpapatalo dito. I was strategizing. Kasi hindi ka pwede mag-sulk, no? Wala na akong trabaho. Where would I go, di ba? Hindi ko sinasabing malaki savings ko, no? Pero imagine may uncertainty. Pero look,
Nakakaangat lang.
mayaman, sobrang mayaman. Hindi, joke lang. Hindi, ano lang, I'm an ordinary guy, no? From very humble beginnings. Pero ang sinasabi ko, that was very, very risky. And that pushed you to work harder.
It paid off naman, evidently.
Siguro, in a way. Hindi, alam mo yung first live ko, that was April, StreamYard. I was researching kung paano mag-put up ng home studio habang nagle-labor yung wife ko. Literally, nandun ako sa couch, nagle-labor. In pain ka, pero ako in pain dito sa nire-research ko, pati yung lighting, yung streaming service sa pinakamadali, doon ko na-realize na StreamYard mas madali.
Nag-live ba yan sa bahay namin?
Oo, ANC pa ako nun, sa bahay nila before. ANC pa yan.
Talaga.
Pero yung first live ko dito, nung nag-live podcast na ako, talagang literally bago ko yung pindutin yung hindi pala gano'n, dapat mouse. O hindi. Bago ko pindutin yung live button, parang nag-flashback lahat ng pinagdaanan ko. Sabi ko, pag walang nanood dito, happy si na Carlo Katigbak. Diba? Nagtanggal sa akin. Kasi, I was fed to the trolls yung mga DDS tsaka mga pro Marcos.
Ay, Sir Carlo.
Tinanggal ka. Actually, I'm happy na ginawa sa akin yun. Diba? Kasi hindi ka mapupush to take a risk and to make something out of your situation. So, I'm happy for this risk. Yun. At sa totoo lang, masarap yung walang boss.
Amazing. Oh, same question?
Oh, risk.
Okay, no. It's
Nagbenta ka ng
It's
aeroplano
the same.
before, di ba? That's risky.
Dalawa.
Yeah, okay.
no. It's practically the same. The biggest risk in my professional career was moving from being an employed journalist to a self-employed journalist. And if you've been an employee of media organizations for your entire life, 25 years as a journalist, becoming an entrepreneur at 51, I was 51 last year, is a whole new level of scary.
Yeah.
Exciting and scary. Pero yung scary na hindi ka nakakatulog. Diba? Because there's always that nagging voice na parang, sigurado ka ba dyan? Tama ba yung ginawa mo? Diba? I mean, and the comfort zone, I love comfort zones and I loved mine in particular. Right? Stepping out of it is like, yung nakadungaw ka sa bangin. But, once you do it, it becomes, it doesn't become easier, it becomes, what's the word, diba? Mas you realize that you have flexibility which you didn't have before. The creative flexibility is very important, diba? Because wala ka ng framework. You make your own framework. So it's great. It's great. Diba? And by the way, I can be as biased as I want. So,
Nausi lang ako. Naalala ko na yung term. Pre-bunking.
Yung before lumabas.
Pre-bunking.
Pre-bunking. Yes.
Nausi ako kanina pa
No, I want to sit in his class, really. Pwede ba mag-audit ng class mo?
Tingnan mo yun. Pinag-patronize ako nito.
Uy, pero favorite ko.
It works naman. Tinan mo naman. Di ba? Tuwan-tuwa.
Favorite na ginagawa ko mo, sir, before, yung bago mag-class, nagpapapop quiz ka ng current events.
Magkano ba kailangan mo?
Before we finish the episode, if you can write your question naman for the next guest. For season 2 na to.
For season 2.
For season 2.
Okay.
Any question, sir?
Talaga?
Kahit gano'n controversial pwede.
Seryoso,
So before we end the episode, where can they reach users?
my platform is called insiderph.com. Okay, we are on mobile and desktop. We're also on Facebook. That's our main channel, insiderph.com.
Insight to the 1%.
Yeah, and we're all about business news. So if you're interested about business, investments, how to grow your money, stocks, bonds, that's where you go, right?
All right.
Ako naman, medyo pedestrian, no? If you want to learn more about Philippine politics, governance, human rights issues, ano pa ba?
Media literacy.
Media literacy, information, or disinformation war. I have this podcast ang pangalan Facts First with Christian Esguerra. So sa YouTube, yun ang main platform. Ang handle is at Facts First PH. May online presence din, of course, sa Facebook.
Facts First PH. Ito yan, di ba?
Yan.
That's you.
That's me.
Subscribe.
Bating ito mamaya. Ito yung podcast.
Okay, thank you.